Hey Spencer, hey man, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Yeah, really good. All right, awesome. So we got you on, and comments work as well. Thanks, Tina. Perfect. Because yeah, it's the last few days something's been going on with Facebook where they didn't update, and it's just been a mess. But we got there. Yeah,
Cool.
man. So
Glad I
yeah,
could
thank you.
join. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time. So
Pleasure.
I'll just set
Pleasure.
that up. Beautiful. Yeah, man. So I mean, yeah, really interesting story. You got a few companies going on, which is awesome. So really interested to hear about that. And then with today, with us discussing about technology integration, I think that's going to be really beneficial for many people because it's something that really rely on technology. I mean, even using this as an example where if it doesn't go perfect, then just the world ends.
Yeah,
But it's so good
exactly
to
right.
have. Yeah, man. So I'd love to hear, Spencer, how did you get into business in the first place? Is it something you always had an entrepreneurial streak, or is it something more you fell into? I'd love to hear more.
Um, Ross, I've been an entrepreneur for quite some time. Originally in school, I actually never completed school. Uh, I decided there were other things that I wanted to pursue at a young age, which unfortunately
Yep.
later down the line I did sort of, I don't like to say I regret things, but I wish I did it differently.
Fair enough.
Um,
Well,
so
that's the thing.
it,
We learn.
it,
That's it. I finished school, but it was a real
100%.
half-assed attempt. It wasn't really my thing.
So yeah, that was really it for me. I originally got into music. I started out by working for a really large sort of record label within Africa. I
Yep.
worked on a couple of albums for them. I then went out and built my own set of studios, and it's sort of that was my early first taste into to being an entrepreneur. With
Yeah.
very very little business acumen. Probably would have done it differently again. But it was
Yep.
my first sort of taste of being able to sort of really understand that it takes you as the driver to grow your business. To be
Definitely.
dependent on other people is just something that doesn't exist. Of course, as we all know, when it's yours, you're obviously more interested in making sure it gets off the ground.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and then I did that for quite some time, and shortly after that, actually, I moved into sort of the mineral trade. So, with zero knowledge, I began brokering minerals, which I'm sure to most people
That's
they're kind of
interesting.
like, but how do you go from music to minerals?
Yeah.
And it was really just sort of influence and some of the friends that I had around me, and also I knew that I wanted to partake in big business at a young age. I just wasn't sure how, and I felt that was the first sort of real road for myself to venture down to actually give me that. So I started like that, as I'm sure you can imagine, introducing two people together in the hopes that you sit and standing for a commission never really works too well,
Yeah.
especially when you don't have the right documentation and so on and so forth. So for me, that was a very steep learning curve. I closed quite a few deals, so at least I had some money coming in at that point.
That's
I then
good.
got picked up by a trading company who was great enough to actually teach me the ropes. So I learned a lot of contracting through them. So actually being able to write legal agreements for sort of the
Yeah.
mining
Fantastic.
industry and purchase and sale. Um,
Yep.
and for me, that was really my first taste of what it is like to run a proper business with the right understanding and the right legal agreements. So I worked for them for quite some time, and I got to a point where I realized I was actually spending more money on my fuel than they were actually paying. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but it was well worth it. The education was great. The experience
Oh yeah.
was
What
was
you
really
learnt would have
something.
been amazing. Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
because learning
100%.
through a company would have just been priceless, and that in itself is something to take away from it. And then you're like, all right, well, it's time to move on.
Exactly. And then shortly after that, I was kind of caught in limbo. So I did start my own business, but I also required quite a bit of capital on the side. So I did do quite a
Yep.
lot of transactions. I actually jumped on a flight and I went to China, and I
Cool.
spent 3.5 weeks there busy building relationships with state-owned Chinese entities. So I went as high up as I could go. I figured that was the
Nice.
best way to start. And in the meantime, my family had always had real estate agencies ever since I was about 15. Although
Yep.
they'd been in real estate all my life, it was, it always had been in the side. So during that process of actually running my first entity after leaving the mineral company, I started going on quite a long route of education. So I realized, because I hadn't got the necessary credits or points to get into a university, I was not going to get accepted. Plenty of frustration, dug around online, and I think the online space really changed everything for me. I was able to educate myself in multiple different sort of aspects. So I started with financial accounting. And once I got a little bit of taste of that, I actually applied at a local varsity in South Africa, and I tended to do business management. And I strongly believe that those two together kicked off my hunger for more knowledge. I saw the value that you could obtain when you understood things a bit more clearly. So that was a steep learning curve. I still do have the mineral company. I do trades, not as often as I'd like to, but I'll get into what I'm busy with, and I'll kind of give you a bit better taste. And at the same time, I started a technology company. A friend of mine's dad invented Bluetooth, sold it to Sony Ericsson, I think 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And he had developed some really, really cool technology. So me and my friend, we thought this was the payday, you know. We were like, wow, like after all the hard work and you know, struggling to grow in businesses, this is a product that will sell itself. We were very wrong. I think it was also just our structure with the partners. So we lost more money than we actually made. We were unable to deliver the tech. I think our partner, you know, being in his 60s with a Rolls Royce in the garage and a very nice house, was not as driven as we were. I mean, we were hungry. You know, we were knocking on every door we could find. And our solutions were good, but you know, you need to have a full proper team that really assists you in driving forward, which is important. They're your backbone to fall on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, they're not going to be as you know, passionate about you. Like if you have a business and just say that you're partnered, but they're not fully in it, it's just they're only going to go as far as they want to go. And so if you're trying to get, you know, from A to B, but your partner isn't fully committed and they only want to get to A.5, then it's like, yeah, no, it's not going to work. And perfect example 100%. There with your friend's dad.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, look, as hurtful as it was at the time, it taught me a lot. You know, they say the school of hard knocks is the best lessons you'll ever learn. And I can definitely say I've learned some of the hardest. You know, and from that point, my mom had actually sold her previous estate agency by this stage, and we looked to start up a new one. She wanted me to come in and handle a lot on the business side of the company, as well as some of the financial aspects and setting the business up. And for me, that was the first time when I actually started taking what I'd learned from the business management courses, the likes of, and actually applying it. So I started with business plans, financial models, the likes of, and obviously with my taste in technology and the things I'd seen were capable, easily achieved with technology. I was really excited. It gave me something fresh. And through that process, while planning out the business plan, I just started seeing things very differently. I started looking at, you know, how do we take a traditional based business and sort of strengthen it so it's strong enough to still exist in the future. You know, expansion was very key for me. I looked to build global businesses, and that was really it for me. So I took a lot of that knowledge and I started putting it into the preparation. So if there's one thing I could give a few people as being an entrepreneur that has learned the tough roads and struggled through it. I mean, I've had nights where bread is dinner. You know, it gets really hard after, you know, you failed a couple times and
absolutely.
I think
potatoes are great. Just potatoes are fantastic.
They're so
cheap.
Potatoes became regular. Yeah,
Yeah.
and these are realistic sides of being an entrepreneur. A lot of people love to go out and work for people, and mad respect to them. It takes a lot of work to do that. It also takes a lot to be an entrepreneur and sit through the hard times.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's fair enough.
if I could give some of my sort of hard-learned pieces to an entrepreneur, I think my two main points would be number one, learn. Whatever you do, we have such great advantage because of the internet. I've learned
Yeah,
incredible
so
skill
much
sets.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned incredible skill sets through YouTube, through Udemy, through Coursera. There's a couple other little sites. I mean, I consistently read. My TV no longer has anything that is broadcasted on it. It
Yeah,
sits in my office, and I use it as an additional screen when I need something extra.
cool.
Um, but learn. So Udemy, they have great courses for free. You can pick up a lot of business skill sets. You can pick up a lot of sort of design orientated skill sets, technology based skill sets. I mean, for less than $40, I learned how to go from barely being able to build a WordPress site to full stack web development with JavaScript, mobile application development.
Yeah,
I mean,
fantastic.
it was amazing. It was almost like a gift from above.
Yeah,
Regardless of
and
the
it's something,
religion, it was a
10K
gift from
plus.
above.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
hundred
you're
percent.
spending tens of thousands of dollars, say at university and things like that, whereas you can go on a course platform, and yeah, as you said, for $40 you can just learn so many skills. So it's actually like wonderful what the internet has to offer. So yeah, definitely.
100%. And if you stuck, you can also just sort of go back and really make sure that you understand that part really well. Or you can take even additional course. So I'll take some of the paid courses, the big ones that I see quite valuable
Yeah,
to me, and then I'll take some of the little ones that are free and use those for the additional like knowledge. So when I learned JavaScript, I took a full stack web development course, and then I took the little key sort of components of understanding JavaScript as separate courses, and I felt that
yeah,
just accelerated the learning curve a lot.
nice.
I see we have a couple of questions here.
Yeah, Amanda was saying lynda.com has some great deals with a lot of public libraries, etc. And Rob was saying fly shirt, I'm too fat to pull it off. I'd look like a fat zebra. I was great. What
so
kind of minerals did you trade in? I'm curious about that. If we
so
bring just quickly back to the minerals.
yeah, so I mean, I'll get to where I currently am, but I've obviously got a few points I'll run through as well. But just to
Yeah,
to
definitely.
answer Rob, so we don't lose him. Um, Rob, I've traded quite a few different types of minerals. I've done a bit of copper ore. The main one that I've done is some iron ore. So I've done quite large, substantial quantities out of Chile and Peru,
Cool.
and that's directly into China. But mainly chrome, sort of iron ore, your metal-based sort of ferrous metals is where I've been based. I have done a little bit of gold. It's not something I dig into very often. There's numerous different reasons. Number one, it's full of scam artists. You will spend years just going through all the rubbish that you receive in hopes that one of these big, large deals of 250 kilos or 500 kilos of gold just happens to be real and just fall
Yeah,
into
okay.
place, and
That's
overnight you'll
crazy.
be a millionaire. So I'm sure you kind of get where I'm going. So I've looked at some of the minerals that are
Yeah.
fairly common for South Africa. They are brick clustered and cluttered, but sort of messy. I haven't had some of the nicest deals locally. But one thing I am starting to look into, if anyone listening does minerals, is sort of the rare earths. A lot of the stuff that is not so common. Uh, it's not so common. There's not a lot of sort of brokers and intermediaries that run around with the
Okay.
same
Yeah.
paperwork.
What kind of minerals?
Sorry.
What
So
kind of minerals would
I'm
be
looking.
classed as rare?
So your tantalums, the likes of the things that are not really sort of common. Like you get antimony as well, which
Okay, yep.
is most people have no idea what antimony is, which
So
is a good thing,
yeah.
not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very
tantalum
cool.
is actually used in the manufacture of electronic chips. So pretty much everything you see in your cell phone, the likes of your cobalts, that's also a bit of a sort of quieter space for most people. That's currently where I'm looking to go at the moment.
Okay, cool.
And then, sorry, just to touch back on some of my entrepreneurial points.
Yeah, yeah,
I
let's
know I
do that,
talked a
man.
little bit about learn, but preparation is also just as important. Where I felt I really started understanding the business space that I was in, or at least the industries I was in, was after I was able to really piece together a business plan and financial models, and with that comes, you know, the direction of the brand and the company and where you want to take it. You know, sort of understanding your marketing, like how you really want to reach your clients.
Yeah,
And one thing I've seen a few people actually do uh, is they don't understand the market they're going for. So they'll design a really cool product, and it's probably a brilliant idea 9 times out of 10, but they don't understand the market that they're trying to target. So they actually don't know the solutions they're really delivering. They've just got this
yeah,
array of things. So I found by preparation and solid preparation, it's very difficult. I mean, I've at one point spent like 6 months on just a business plan, and trying to just really get around
yeah.
the
Wow.
nitty gritties of the product. And
Yeah,
not everyone has that sort of time. I was fortunate, and I did have a very good partner to assist me in putting it together. But once you do that, you're able to actually walk through all the business processes and get a very good understanding of how you, number one, look to implement, what sort of roadblocks you'll encounter before you encounter them, so that you can have I like to kind of put it as this. Um, I would rather be flying in a plane where I'm able to identify if a rocket is coming my way before it actually arrives, and it arrives, and now I've got to, in panic, try work out what I'm going to do to save my passengers, being the business or the
yeah,
plane. As with if you've kind of got your radar and you understand what's going to come, and you sort of prepped, when that rocket does fire off, you, number one, can identify it a lot earlier. Um, but you also kind of have a procedure that you might take that is thought out in a clearer space, and you just revert back to that when it starts coming, and the business plan you always just keep bettering. So those would be my suggestions to an entrepreneur in terms of the business side. As a
yeah,
person, a lot of people, I think, tend to think it's very easy, because you hear these stories of this company that just blows up, and all of a sudden becomes the next Google, and so on and
yeah,
so
man. But that's
forth.
like
But
10 years in the making in the background. Then all of a sudden it's an overnight success. Like that's, no one really thinks
yeah,
about the hard miles that go in beforehand. It's just, oh, did you hear about this company that just, yeah, went public, and then all of a sudden they're like $1 billion company? Like, look at like Alibaba, for instance. When that went public, that turned into $1 billion company. I was in that shit for like 10 years in high school, like selling sunglasses. Like, it was great. And then, yeah, all of a sudden it's popped up, and everyone's like, oh, have you heard of this Alibaba? And it's like, well, they've been around for a long time, my friend.
they've been doing the hard work.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but you know, with that comes, sorry, I just need to plug in my charger here. See, I'm running
Yeah, cool,
out
man.
of
Rob,
fuel.
Rob had a joke as well. He just said, when we were talking about minerals before, he goes, I had some kryptonite, gave it to my mate Clark Kent, but haven't seen him since. uh, that is the best dad joke
That's
of the
actually
day, I
brilliant.
got to say.
That's a really good joke. Good on you, Rob.
Yeah,
Good on you. Um,
best dad joke of the
so yeah,
day.
I mean, as an individual, you know, one thing that you got to kind of accept early on. I mean,
Yeah,
I kind of was like, yo, I'm one deal away. I'm one deal away from being something, you know,
yeah,
or you think overnight success is immediate, but it takes a lot of toll on you. I mean, I recall calling a lot of investors. So what I did is I actually searched the Forbes list. and
Cool.
we all do it from time to time, and we try
Oh
and
yeah, I've
say
been
who's
using
there.
it to try and find guests for the show. Like Forbes is great.
Maybe we should talk. I've got a couple of people you might be able to get in touch with from there. So
Yeah,
what I
cool.
did
Well, we've had a
is
few so far that have been on
oh
Forbes.
really?
So yeah. So it's coming on.
Okay,
I was meant to have
brilliant.
the mayor. Yeah, the mayor of Adelaide was supposed to come on tomorrow, not live here in the group, but as the podcast I upload it. But we've had to reschedule to next week. But yeah, mayor has some big names on. So yeah, being from Adelaide, I thought, oh, get the mayor on. That'd be pretty cool.
That's really exciting. Yeah, definitely. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I started by looking at the Forbes list and trying to understand like who I can contact. So I ultimately looked for every single person in there that was based within property. I was part working on quite a large development that I was. It was more for the training aspect, but it actually took off a lot more than just training. We were pretty close.
Yeah.
And I ring fenced every single Forbes list person that was involved in property. I searched their companies. I think I got out of the top 2,000. I think I got to 180 something people. I researched all their companies. I made notes of what their companies did, and I found pointers and I started contacting all these people. I even hunted Forbes list billionaires down and phoned them on their cell phones. They were like, "How did you get my number?"
Yeah. Wow. So it was
You kind of
billionaires that you
learn.
have. Yeah. Okay. I get you.
Yeah,
Because when I
yeah.
said Forbes list, I meant as in just had been featured on Forbes. But yeah, if you're actually trying to reach down, the billionaires Forbes list, then yeah, that's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, so I mean, look, it was I was really looking for any sort of link I could get,
Yeah.
and I phoned most of them, and at that time, our government was shifting people around in government, or the ministers, so they removed Pravin Gordon, our finance minister, and they put some other guy in. I forget what his name is, and the
It's not that
students.
important.
Yeah, the students had been striking. I think he only lasted 2 weeks or something ridiculous. But and then the students
Okay.
were striking, and this development I was doing was student orientated, so it was student accommodation. And I
Yep.
mean, I'm phoning people, and they're like, are you crazy? Have you looked at the TV? Like South Africa is just somewhere we do not put money right now, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I had
So
that every
volatile.
single day. So you getting all the no's, you learn a lot through it. You learn, number one, how to approach people.
Yeah.
So don't give up. Don't let people put you down based on a no. Sometimes the craziest ideas and sort of the craziest people are actually the ones that end up changing a lot. I mean, Elon Musk's companies were crashing and they were out of money, and he just kept begging and begging and asking, and eventually it turned around. And now we all sit here and we're like,
Nice.
wow, look at Elon Musk. He's sending rockets to space. But it
Yeah.
wasn't easy. So don't give up. Don't allow the defeat, and don't give in. I mean, if you have to change a project, if something's just not gelling, and give it enough time. Don't kind of sit there for 2 weeks and be like, I've got no sales. I'm out. It doesn't come that easy. So
Yeah.
those are key things as I think a person, and learn about yourself, your strengths, and so on. So that's my sort of top sort of tips towards any entrepreneur based on what I've experienced, what I've learned. Um, yeah.
Yeah, Spencer, that's
So that,
fantastic. A lot of insight there. I think that's been really valuable for everyone listening at home so far, because it's really great to see the progression as well of where you first started and where you are now. So I think you're doing really well. So congrats on the all the success and yeah, just some really valuable points there so far. So I mean, I guess from there you started other companies. Is that correct? Like you've got real estate agency now as well. Is that is what's been your main focus, or have you got a few other things going on too?
yes, so I mean that kind of brings me to where I am now. After really sort of digging into the real estate company and redesigning the business plan. Look, we're in our final stages. I don't want to disclose too much as I'd really
Yeah,
love
of course,
to
of course.
tell people the
No,
processes I
of
went
course.
through. in
Yeah,
that business. But my main thing is I started looking at how to structure my companies a lot better. So
yeah,
I set up a holding company, which I used my surname for that, and I attached group of companies because I believe that by bringing them together, obviously I create a group, but it's very specific that that is the holding company. So I started putting that in place, and then I started selling my personal shares to the business. So
Okay.
Kitson GOC, which is short, owns those companies instead of me personally, owns my shares in those companies. And obviously based on technology, and as I started learning a bit more about technology, I started seeing that in this day and age, you cannot be a traditional based business anymore. It's kind of like saying you're good, but unfortunately in the current world, good is not good enough anymore.
Yep.
You've got every form of company ultimately going online, finding a new way to operate in an online
Absolutely.
environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Number one, it reduces your overheads. It allows you more time as an actual entrepreneur. So, having said that, once I'd sold my shares to Kitson GOC, I looked at both the mineral company and the property company, and I said, how do I digitize these in the best way? And I started along that journey of understanding how to integrate technology a lot better. To give you an example, in the one side of our company in the real estate, I built an application over December. We implemented it in January, and it reduced our workload from being a 3 to 4 days sort of every month period down to a matter of hours.
Cool.
So, it bought us a lot more time. It was great to see it really work and see the hard work
Yeah, that's
deliver
awesome.
something good. But
Nice.
that's what technology offers. Sorry, Ross, you were about to say?
No, man. Yeah. I was just saying, like, that's just fantastic. Like, congrats on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's only the start. We've lined up quite a lot. I've been on quite a journey just this beginning of this year. So we've begun engaging with VCs. I've been accepted to attend Rise, which is in Hong Kong in July. You should come through, man. It's around the corner from you. You should definitely try and make it to Hong Kong.
That'd be great. Well, when I was in the Philippines, because I went over there for business as well a few months ago, and made a lot of contacts over there, and I met a friend coincidentally just at the hotel's gym, and he's like, "Yeah, look, when you come to China, like, I'll show you around everywhere." So yeah, I have to hook it all up.
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong and China, they don't quite see eye to eye, but once you're in Hong Kong, it's a hop, skip, and a jump from Shanghai or Beijing.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely recommend the trip. It's a really humbling experience being in China. I loved every moment of it. I love every trip I go. There's something about
Yeah.
the people. We all know Chinese people, but when you're in China and you spend time with the Chinese, it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
So just in
Yeah.
terms of
Experience
like
other cultures is
technology,
amazing.
yeah, I mean they're humbling. I mean I like to see it and put Shanghai as the calm within the chaos. So
Yeah.
as busy as it is, and as much as everyone's got things going on, there's a sense of like people are humble. They're kind of willing to help each other. They don't necessarily go completely out their way, but they help a lot more than any other city I've been to, which is quite amazing.
That's great.
Only problem is you don't know how to use anything because everything is in Chinese. Even the dishwasher, washing
Yeah.
machines, like it's crazy. So yeah,
That's
I
funny.
believe you now get these apps that you can point at foreign languages and it converts it to English or
Yeah,
whatever
that's
language you
crazy. Like,
speak.
they've got one in Japan that's it's a prototype, and basically you talk into it, and then it will basically just translate it for you, which is just crazy. So no doubt within the next
Game
5 to 10 years, it is. It's a game changer. Like you can
Yeah,
in the
game
next
changer.
5 to 10 years, you can just travel anywhere basically, and you'll be able to know. With most countries, you'll just be able to speak to anyone, which is just phenomenal. Like just to almost remove language barriers is just immense. Like, so I'm really looking
Yeah,
forward to that
it
technology
becomes a
growing because
global language no matter what you speak. Yeah,
exactly, yeah, which is fantastic because it is in its infancy and there are a few hiccups, but it's just such a new technology that give it a few years and there's definitely a need for it. So I'm really looking forward to it progressing.
yeah, definitely. So, sorry, just to touch on the technology side of it. You know, one thing with technology and business is everyone needs to have a website. I'm probably not the best example because I don't have any websites right now. I've got the Real Estate Express, which is the company we got that.
Yep.
My Kitson GOC website is nothing but a sort of, this page is being held
Yep.
because I'm actually working on it. And I've got a couple other domains that I've sort of bought. So the mineral side, we've moved it over from the one entity and we've put it in a company called Commodity Central. Obviously, it rolled off the tongue quite nicely. It sounds familiar to most people because of Comedy Central. So that's what made us go with that name. And I bought a lot of domains, as many as I could find or think of.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
believe you got to secure yourself now. But in your business, there's so many different solutions to actually integrate into your business. So even if you are unable to build some of the solutions, there are great what we call APIs in the tech world. So what it ultimately allows you to do for people that aren't very tech orientated, it allows you to link and piggyback off sort of services. So one that people are quite familiar with is Google Maps. You can integrate into your website with no code and have quite a few features. But Google actually offers it in an API. So if you're getting a developer to build your website, you can integrate all sorts of things. So you can change the look of the map. You can add in your own markers, and I'm talking multiple markers, millions if you want. You can do almost anything. So that's almost like a free shot at having some of the best services free. Some of them pay over a quota, but it just gives your website a whole lot more. I know there's a lot of blockchain technologies that are now offering APIs. So, people who are trying to jump on the blockchain thing, you ultimately find one that provides something really good. Link in on the API, and you've got a world-class service for almost nothing.
Which is great.
There's no value like that. Like, Uber, you can actually jump on Uber and integrate Uber into whatever you want. So when someone's on your website, they could tap fetch me and it'll automatically sort of call an Uber for you.
That's cool.
Log into your own account and call an Uber, to your location. So there's a lot of those benefits. It also allows you to get a very sort of good website or, something that's quite intricate for very little. No one wants to really go out and build maps. Otherwise, Ross, I think you'll have a couple more stamps in your passport right now. You'd have to go around pointing pretty much every, landmark and restaurant and, block and draw out everything.
Yeah.
So it's not possible for people to do it.
Exactly. And I love the restaurants, so my pages would just be full.
Yeah, there you go. You can go test all the restaurants, and
Exactly.
build your own ratings for them,
Amanda's left a comment. She was back when we were talking about the translating. She's saying there was a guy that built a real-time translation device when he fell in love with a French girl who didn't speak any English because he didn't speak any French, and somehow that was easier than learning French. I love it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those. It's a pod you put in your ear and it translates, so you guys can talk freely.
That's cool.
I haven't seen it on sale, but I did see an advert for it at some point. And I see Amanda also spoke about she learned the Google Maps API in 2012.
Yep.
And had it down, and then they changed it to version 3 and changed a bunch of stuff. Amanda, I feel your pain. I think Google has made, they put all their stuff in what we call documentation, Ross. I don't know how much you understand about development.
Back with Google Maps, they used to have it where you could basically geocache a lot of stuff and integrate that into your website with APIs. And then, with the new version, they just got rid of it. So then if you had maps and search-based stuff, that's just gone. So you're like,
they just made it harder.
Much more costly. Yeah. So I keep track with some stuff like that.
Yeah, so 9 times out of 10, when a company provides an API, they put out documentation with it, ultimately like a how-to-use kind of guide. And one thing that I must say is Google's great. They're amazing. But in terms of their documentation, they either use really terrible examples that are very difficult to actually adapt, or they just kind of plunder along, and you've really got to pick all the pieces out and put it together on yourself. So Amanda, I feel your pain. Version 3 hasn't been the easiest thing for me to integrate into what we're building, but I'm getting there. There's a lot of great online tutorials for that.
Yeah, that's cool.
She used Maps API for a listing system, home builders and communities to show availability, and lots was epic. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it. Yeah, and then if you do actually have a traditional based business, I think you need to look at how you can start sort of transforming it into a digital business, or future driven business is what I like to call it. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can take even just your simple systems like your marketing. There's quite a lot of great apps that actually automate some of your marketing systems now. So you load in a whole bunch of content, and over a period it sort of burns through that content and posts it for you, and does a lot of things. There's also
saves a lot of time.
Yeah, there's chat
like many
for
chats,
Facebook,
things like that.
100%. So there's a lot of things that you can do. I would definitely recommend looking online, finding something that's unique to the industry that the entrepreneur's in, and use it. It might be hard to implement or cost you a bit, but it'll definitely make you stand out from your competitors, and it can give you a lot of time advantage. You know, and there's nothing better than when you step onto a site. I mean, we all know, and I'm talking from a client or user's perspective. When you log on a website and a company's really taken the thought into putting some little touches of technology that are just relevant. I think we all appreciate it when you arrive at a site and you're like, wow, these guys are pretty cool. Like, they're doing cool stuff. And I think that immediately just sets something with your client. They know that you're forward thinking, which is very, very important.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. Yeah. So, I mean, Spencer, what's next? As obviously said, you know, there's a few things you can't disclose, but, you know, you said you're building a few things going on. So what can you see next in store for what's around the corner?
So what I've been doing is I've really been focusing on technology. So I did take a slight bit of a break from some of my companies, not in the sense of leaving them, but working on them on the internal side. So really changing the way we operate, changing the internal systems of them, you know, building a lot of technology in where I see that it could better our business and offer a really good potential to the clients. And then I've been looking in sort of into the VC space. So at this point, where we currently sit is we've been building the technology. We're almost at a point where we really start testing it. So we've identified live markets. So we've ring fenced a couple of different entities to go through the testing phase with us. And my main focus is what we call Rise. It's a conference in Hong Kong, as I've mentioned. And my main focus is just being tested, having a sort of good, sort of complete version 1 of the product. So that's really been the big push. Identifying my key partners, pulling them in, getting them involved, and at least making sure that we build the business so that it's global proof. So that's where we've been dealing with quite a lot of VCs. Rise, for some reason, Rise put me on the map in their perspective. I've had a lot of calls. I've declined a couple of offers already. I just believe, you know, I mean, look,
it's going to be the right fit. It's going to be the right fit.
Do some money at you know, all the time. Like we'd all love some extra money, you know, but at what cost?
Exactly.
So I chose to just stick it out a bit longer. And just kind of make sure that I get my product to a point that its value is fairly good, to allow me to enter a market where I can raise a lot of the capital and use it purely for marketing. Marketing is everything. If you don't market your product, that's where your big budget should go, and stuff.
Yeah.
Those
absolutely.
are the two big things. So that's where I currently am. You know, I'm kind of been prepping. I worked December through. I learned through December, and I just built cool things and and really try to gain my feet in technology. And then, yeah, I've just been identifying the team, piecing the last few pieces together, making sure that our product is really something that's rounded, because we're about to start beginning testing, as I mentioned, and that's been my main focus at this point. So we're getting ready to sort of so June, July, start entering the market space and really being effective in that space. So that's where I currently am. I'd love to tell people all sorts of other great things, but
Yeah.
that's
Well, you're
the
doing
truth.
fantastically.
Yeah, I'd like to think
Yeah.
so. I'd like to think so. It's a lot of hard work, and it's probably a lot more, and it's great to receive the well wishes and you're doing great, and like it's always good. But
Yeah.
until you start seeing the market returning the hard work, and really loving the product and getting thousands and thousands of, hey, this is amazing, that I think that's
Yeah.
really where the good feel comes. I look to deliver products that benefit the clients instead of just purely being business driven. I believe if you build good products, people don't just come. Okay, they don't just come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely helps in securing a lot more people when they do see it, but most importantly, if you build a really, really good product, people start talking about it for themselves. And I think
Yeah.
that's the strongest part of a business's growth, is the client drive. So that's really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we are. So I'm getting ready for Rise, probably the most exciting part of my 2018, and I'm sure it'll just get better from there.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, absolutely. Like it's
yeah.
very exciting times ahead. So it sounds like it's all coming together, and it's been such a battle so far, and you've done really well with everything, and it's now all the pieces are just fitting in even further together. So that this fantastic. So congrats.
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that, and thank you, Ross. Like, I think what you're doing is really great. A lot of the
Thanks,
time,
man. Yeah.
people talk to entrepreneurs when they've really become something, and they're in a magazine, or they spoken about on the radio, or they've launched great products and things like that, and a lot of the time, people don't get to actually understand where entrepreneurs are in those sort of mid stages.
Yeah.
Going through the hardships. Actually, it's all good. I mean, you get a product into market and it takes off really well, and you feel good. There's obviously complications that come with it, but you feel good. You're a different type of person once you get to that point. But entrepreneurs that are sitting at home, I know quite a few that's all they do is they work 24/7. They building their passion, they're building their dream, and sometimes they are unable to share when I think it's hard when you're in that point. And
Yeah. Hard to open up.
entrepreneurs go through it, and I think one thing that for me that has really been, especially in the hard times, is to know that I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
It's and I think what you're doing is really great. I like that you do have that array of entrepreneurs. I think for the entrepreneurs that
Thanks,
are still
Spencer.
busy working, just stick at it. Just stick at it.
Yeah,
It'll
well, I
come
enjoy
right.
it. It's fun to just talk to new people every day. It's interesting and learning different perspectives, and that was one of the big reasons I bought a ticket to go overseas to the Philippines a few months back, was purely just to
Okay.
learn business in that respect, but also learn the perspective of others in a third world country like that. So it was a very interesting trip. I've traveled heaps, but it was just usually you go somewhere and it's a closer relation. Singapore was fantastic, but it was a very well brought together country, whereas in some areas in the Philippines it was a bit dodgy. But it was
Yeah.
still a very exciting and
Yeah.
interesting place to visit, and everyone was so friendly.
Sure. And I heard you say that you bought a ticket to Hong Kong for what, July? I'm seeing you
Oh,
there.
sorry. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
So
things continue, if things take off as well as I'm hoping they do, as things are slowly progressing, then yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me know. I'll be definitely keen to see you and spend time with you. Maybe we can even do another live interview, but we're together.
That'd be
Be
cool.
different.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
We can just be sitting in a bar with a beer and then have someone else film it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sitting here and it's what it's 1 o'clock in the morning this side, so
yeah, man, that's
it's
late.
uh it's yeah, it's okay. I'm passionate about my businesses, so I work. At this point, it's about growth. It's about being prepared. So I love what I do. I wake
Yeah,
up in the morning and I can't wait to just get working. I know to
yeah,
some people
nice.
that sounds sad or whatever, but that's where I am right now, and
Yeah,
I
man,
want to
that's
build good things.
that's what we're all doing. It's why we're all here. So yeah, you're doing really well. So there you go. Another compliment for the shirt as well. Grant's just come on, dude. That shirt's awesome. Yeah, I
Thanks,
do love
thank
the
you,
shirt.
thank you.
Where did you get the shirt? I think if two people have jumped on and commented on it, then we're gonna know where'd you get the shirt.
Um, I need to check it out for you. I
All right.
think it's
I don't
I
think
think it's
Facebook's
Zara. It's
the
actually a
camera quality
Zara
will
shirt.
so. Okay.
It's a
Yeah, it's
Zara
nice.
shirt, so it is global. You guys can
Yep.
just go and take a photo if you want, and
Awesome.
go find it, take a photo. I'm sure they'll help you out, and if they
Oh
can't
shit.
find it, Zara's international. They'll find it somewhere or another.
Oh
So
fuck, man.
good luck
That's
finding it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spencer, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. So, like, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a great chat. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of energy. So, I guess the last question for the day is, how does everyone get in touch with you for, say, to use your businesses, or for you to be able to help them with their businesses, or whatever else? How do we promote your business for you?
Okay, so I've got one thing that I do sort of do, and I've been really terrible at it. I haven't posted in about 3 months, but
Okay.
that's purely because due to the fact that I've been really busy.
Yep.
I've actually been restructuring the way I post it. I want to provide a lot of value to people, and I use my Instagram a lot for that. So I
Cool.
post stories about billionaires and sort of the key things that they've said and little points that stick out to me. So I do that. I've got quite a lot there. I've got some motivational posts, and then I post a little bit about the work I do, so that people learn a bit about minerals and technology and the likes of. But I've been changing that. I'll be launching that in sort of mid-March.
Nice.
So I've got a whole lineup. I've got videos. I got better information. I've chosen a better direction in terms of what I'm posting, when I'm posting, what value I really am giving to the people that follow me.
Yep.
But if you want to get in touch with me personally, you're more than welcome to reach out to me in my email. Maybe if you want to just post it up on this video afterwards, I'd appreciate that. But
Yeah. If
it's Spencer.
yep.
Yeah, it's Spencer at kitsongroup.co.za, which is SPENCER at Kitson Group, which is KITSON group.co.za. So people can get in touch
Cool.
with me there. I'd like to think I'm friendly. I'd like to
Yeah,
think I'm
man, for
friendly.
sure. Yeah,
So
definitely.
feel
And yeah, if,
free.
if you've got any any links or anything you want to post in the comments below afterwards, you're more than welcome to. And yeah, if you wanted to post your email below as well, then yeah, absolutely more than welcome to. And then that way everyone can just
Cool.
just click and go.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Another thing I'd like to catch up with you once I've readied my products.
I'd love to do that.
Not
Yeah, for
not on the
sure.
marketing aspect, but I'd love people to just kind of get an idea of how I've been thinking, and I really have tried to pride myself in finding unique ways, and it might help someone else out in a different industry. So I'd really like to talk about that at some point, and I can
Yeah,
disclose a
Spencer,
bit more about
absolutely.
what I went through
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
fair
development
enough.
stage, which was
Exactly.
steep learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. No, absolutely, man.
So
Yeah, and in the next few months or whenever it may be, we'll hook that up because I'd love to keep in touch to see how things are progressing, and once you are able to share
definitely,
with that and the journey, yeah, it'd be my pleasure. So I look forward to that.
definitely. And then thank you very
Yeah,
much. I mean, like I said, you're doing great things, Ross. Stick it
thanks,
out.
Spencer.
Stick it out.
Cheers, man.
I just see nothing but good things for you, and stick it out. And thanks for having
Beautiful.
me on. I really appreciate it, and the people that came on and listened. Thanks. It was nice
Yeah,
chatting to you and
definitely. So yeah,
getting some of
thank
the
you.
good feedback. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
everyone loved the shirt,
Thanks,
so
Rob.
that's that's good
Thanks.
myself as well.
I might
Yeah,
just have to print my own just now and start marketing them. So maybe I
that's
might
it.
have
New
to get in
business idea.
contact with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. New business
but
idea.
thanks.
No, I love it, man. No, thank you so much.
Yeah,
And yeah, for everyone at home that tuned in today, thank you so much for investing your time with us. So yeah, thank you again for tuning in. And Spencer, yeah, thanks again. So we'll keep in touch, man, because I'd love
pleasure.
to hear how things are going,
Anytime.
and we'll chat soon.